beer tubers, welcome back to another episode of Maxwell Starr's Beer Reviews, Part 2 in our series about Picaroons Harvest Ale. Tonight we're going to take a look at the Happy Hopyard's Cascades version. In the previous review, we took a look at Wismickle Farms Cascade and Golding Hop version. So for the second batch, we've got the Cascade version, which is actually the third batch, I guess, of the hops from Happy Hopyard. This is Bob Fitzgerald and Ashley Dirtle, owners and operators of the Happy Hopyard Co., a 10-acre organics hops farm near Agonance, New Brunswick, catering to local microbreweries interested in the freshest and happiest of ingredients. So the Happy Hopyard, kudos to you. We're going to take a look at the Picaroons Harvest Ale, brewed with Happy Hopyard Cascade hops. So this should be good. Cascade's probably one of my favorite types of hops. It's got a nice taste to it. So why don't we pop this one open and take a look. So the previous version didn't say it on the bottle, but it said on the website that it was hopped with both Cascades and Goldings. And it came off as really grapefruity and earthy. So this one here, kind of expecting it to be mainly grapefruity. So let's give it a pour. This will be interesting to try. Color-wise, head-wise, lots of poofy head. Bubbles are a bit thicker this time. Color-wise, it looks almost identical to what it did before, which is understandable considering they used the same malt content. They used Quebecois and Prairie malts. It's got a subtly different smell to it, and I'm starting to get some leakage because I pushed that a little too far. Oh well. It's alright. Stove cleans off quite easily. Very poofy head, and it's starting to die off in the similar, but perhaps maybe not quite as like dense looking head as what it had before. It does look nice though, and I gotta say that smells I'm getting off at the top are they're almost like a bit like in some Garrison products. There's a little bit of a leather kind of smell to it, but otherwise it's got a very big butter note to it and a very big caramel note to it. Off the top of that one, I can't detect any kind of grapefruity note I would expect from a Cascade hop. But I gotta say, I really do approve of that big caramel note coming off of this one. That smells really nice. Smells tasty. Let's see if it is tasty. Down the hatch. Interesting. There's a white grapefruit, piney kind of note. The biggest thing I note about this one here is that the malt doesn't seem to be as thick. It's almost a little thinner. That's interesting. .5% ABV. It almost it leaves a lingering, almost like a not so much metallic, but a little bit of an earthy note to the back, and it comes off as kind of strange. This one is, according to their website, single hopped with just Cascade hops. But I gotta say that it's almost something across as a little bit too thin compared to what the last one here. This one's, the body's not quite as heavy. Okay, the reason why that strikes me as a little odd is because the other one was a little bit thicker, and because it was a little bit thicker, it almost struck me as a really nice clone of a good like an English ESB. This one here is, because it's a little thinner, I guess you could consider it maybe closer to Fuller's London Pride, but I didn't really like London Pride quite as much. Still very good, but it almost comes across as not having enough malt to back up the hops. and it's almost a little too hop forward. And while the hops are nice and fresh tasting, kudos to that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really delicious beer. It's just not wowing me quite as much. It's different. You get this big, lingering white grapefruit, piney bitterness. It's mainly piney and earthy. Not sure I like this one as much. But to cut this one short, I'm just going to give it a rating right now. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. It's good. I like the Wismickle Farm Cascade better than the Happy Hopyard Cascade. They almost seem like they're like two, not completely different beers, but they're obviously two different batches of the same kind of beer. The malt doesn't seem to be quite as good, and you know what? That may not, the blame for that may not come down on Happy Hopyard. It's not your fault, guys. Gotta say this: the adjoining malt just isn't as thick, and I was hoping for a bit more flavor from the malt rather than just all hop. So nothing bad said about the Happy Hopyard. The hops taste great. I find that what the failure of this particular version of the beer is that the malt doesn't quite back up the hops taste. As such, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Don't really think it's as great as the Wismickle Farm version, where it had a really nice big hop note, or sorry, big malt note. I'll go with the beer and counterbalance the beer. This one here is mainly hop forward, while achieving about similar bitterness. But nothing said. So far, the Harvest Ale series from Picaroons has actually been really, really delicious. So I do recommend trying this beer. If you do the Happy Hopyard Cascade version is the only one you can find, it's still a great beer. Give it a try. But to be totally honest, if you see the Wismickle one version sitting next to it, it'll say right here on the bottle. See the Wismickle version? Pick it up because it is good. Anyway, we still have the Happy Hopyard Nugget version to look at, so which should be interesting. That'll come up in a following review. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you folks later. Cheers.